Hello everybody, welcome back to the workshop. Today I'll be showing you how I made this Hundsgugel closed helm for my proper cardboard night harness. And just a heads up that this is an advanced level project, so if you need something that's a little bit more beginner friendly, I have videos like this for you as well. I'll be using my foam and duct tape headcast to create this. Then I sketched out the design I was trying to acquire. After that, I grabbed some 1.5 inch strips of cardboard and started constructing the dome so I could then paper mache over that. If you are following along with this build, make sure you make this dome a little bit larger than your head so you can fit a lining suspension inside, and then also because it will look historically accurate. I turned it into a jellyfish by adding 3 long strips of cardboard on the back and then on the sides. When you put that on your head, you can use these to adjust to the curvature of your neck and the back of your head. And then of course we're going to trim them roughly down to the base of your neck. Then I glued 2 pieces of cardboard on the back like that just to begin forming the shape. Now we're going to paper mache this cardboard frame with a mixture of 1 cup of flour and 4 cups of water, and then I have about 50 newspaper strips. I'm going to soak them in and then lightly squeegee off the excess liquid and then apply it to the frame. If you're trying to follow along, notice the pattern I'm placing the newspaper strips in. It's not just randomly scattered. It is like a turtle shell or an armadillo shell, and then you just continue to reinforce that. Just make sure you take your time on this part because this will ensure your project is quality and can withstand a hit from a cardboard weapon, and this also protects the cardboard from sweat and other elements. Now that it is dry, let's take a close look in here. So notice how the inside is paper mache and then the rim along the entire helmet is paper mache. That's to hold the paper in place. Now on all of the newspaper strips, we're going to cover that with Mod Podge. Then I poked some holes through the sides of the cardboard that was reinforced and added an 1.5 inch strip of cardboard on each side. And I'm going to connect those 2 pieces with this piece right here. Notice the angle it goes in towards. Then we're just going to continue building a frame around the throat and chin just like we did on the back. Then we're going to add these small pieces underneath to attach the neck to the chin. At this point, my projects are usually deformed a little bit, so I'm just going to break it in. Cardboard is a flexible material, so you can break it in, and then when you paper mache over it, you can cover it in a generous amount of Mod Podge. Got our paper mache mixture right here. So I sprayed everything I made with Plastidip, which is a thin rubber coating, just to seal it from any sweat or elements that could hinder it. Now for the visor, I'm pretty much, as you know, copying World of Armory Smith, his Hundsgugel closed helm. So I figured I'd take a moment to explain the visor because this is something everyone really struggles with. The Hundsgugel visor, whether it's this iteration or this one, it's difficult because you have to bend a nose into this fine point. So there's a lot of ways you can approach it. You can do it the way I did my previous Hundsgugel bassinet, where I just did 4 pieces, or the first bassinet I made, which was 2 pieces. You know, the visor had just a plate of cardboard, and then I made the cone separate and just glued the cone on, which is pretty much what I'm gonna do here. So here are the dimensions. These mean inches, by the way. I ended up recreating this template because I wanted the base to be a little bit pointier on the nose to begin with, so I didn't use this iteration, but they're constructed the exact same way. Gluing some scrap on the back just to make this visor a little bit thicker so it can actually withstand a hit. Anytime I use the term proper in proper cardboard armor, I typically mean it can take a hit from a proper cardboard weapon and it won't just fall apart like other armor. This part is also optional, but as you can see, I'm lining the edges with a little bit of extra hot glue. These black hot glue sticks I got off of Amazon. So I created a new template to make the nose a little bit more pointier, and I'm gonna save the one I just made for a alternative visor, but yeah, it's a slight alteration. Okay, so I'm actually very particular about the way the cone nose looks, and every single time I made one with extra tabs on the end. This was the first one, and I liked it, but I was like, okay, something needs to be changed, and it just kept looking like a bird's mouth. So just simply changing the seam from side to side like this, but it also just like it matches the seam right here on the mask. Okay, here it is. I actually like that, and just so you know, if you're trying to follow along, you do not need to use this much hot glue. I just did that because I accidentally got some extra glue on the side, and then I just wiped it off with the iron, but it like smooths it across. But at that point, I had to make it symmetrical. It's probably just an OCD thing. Anyway, but that does, if you seal it like that, it does increase the longevity of your projects, and it can withstand blows. Because like, listen to this. That's a rigid piece of cardboard armor. At this point, you could probably just take a gunshot straight to the face. Oh yeah, so I might save this, and this could be like a great bassinet closed helm visor. I didn't want to waste it because it's still a good visor that I could salvage, so I'm gonna put that aside and continue working on this one. For the hinge pieces that the visors connect to is kind of a new addition to my proper cardboard night helmets, and that is so I can switch out visors, and because it just looks more historically accurate, I just used a piece of polyethylene tubing to make the hinges itself. Here's a piece of unsheathed electrical wire. I just bent it into a T shape like I did for the sallet pin, and those will be our pins for the visor. And then this will be bolted to the skull itself. I might need to add some electrical tape around here to thicken it up so they don't just like slip out and that happen. Pretty cool. Somebody in the comments said it looked like a mole, and they're kind of right. Look at that. So I did the same thing I did with the eyes, just on a smaller scale, and then I carved off the top layer so I could see my feet through these vent holes on the bottom. Screwdriver, and then I used my hot glue gun tip to use some heat up in there, and now it's open. There you go. Okay, after some small tweaks, and I used the same prism technique, and then I glued the bottom slits so they're nice and sealed. I used spray painted bottle caps to act as washers on the hinge connectors, and then I'll take those off when I paint this. I'm going to paint this hammered gray like the rest of the armor, like I just explained, or you double up the thickness of the visors. Like here's this one right now. You double up the thickness and it can actually take a hit from a cardboard weapon and it won't just fall apart like other armor. So yeah. So these are the 3 colors I'm using. I have a universal bonding primer to help it stick better, and then of course this is the hammered gray. It's like a dark gray that I'm using, and then put this gold around it to have a little gilded rim. So here are the 3 main components to assemble the helmet: the skull, the gorget, the visor, and then all the hardware that I made or modified. So in order to keep the helm closed, I just bent a piece of steel wire, and then I bent it here so it doesn't cut yourself or anyone else. I bent it around one of these small bolts like that, just enough so that it could tighten around, and then I put a nut on one end so it's actually just sticking through. You can hot glue it, I didn't need to, but then that goes on to the throat piece, and there's another bolt sticking out, so when you close it you'll have some kind of locking mechanism to hold the helmet closed, and then friction will keep the visor down. The time has come for a felt fabric suspension liner, and if you want an in-depth tutorial on how to make one, just check out this video right here, and this video should also help you if you're more of a beginner on cardboard armor. As you can see, you can even adjust it on the inside. The felt lining is installed. I did have to adjust it and trim it a little bit so my eyebrows weren't rubbing into it. And then of course I put some felt fabric lining on the bever gorget piece. So, and I also reinforced it with some hot glue. So we're gonna reassemble this and then try it on. And here's what the rest of the progress looks like on my knight harness. the harness is very flexible and very light and very comfortable. The helmet, I gotta decrease some flexibility points. It looks very cool. I think this was the perfect choice for this late high technology, late century era knight armor. And I'm very satisfied with the gilded lining around it. And I think it looks exquisite. So, next, after this, I already have leg armor. I just need to make gauntlets and maybe modify the pauldrons so they're not this big, but I think I like them big. Oh, I'll do this in a live stream maybe, where I make a higher visibility visor. I just didn't have time to do it here. The visibility on this is pretty low, so I'm gonna target visibility on this visor. However, the protection on this is very, very high. So I give this a 7 out of 10. I give an actual 7 out of 10. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like these builds that I do, like and subscribe for more videos. And if you would like to see some behind the scenes footage of this armor and my power armor and etc., join my membership.